Welcome to Tech Hub. I'm Steven. This is my good friend Lee from the UK. We're here this week at Autodesk University 2016, here at the Venetian Palazzo in Las Vegas. And Lee, you being from the UK, we were just chatting. You talked about some BIM mandates.
Yes. Yeah, so they were introduced earlier this year in the UK, 4th of April, with some updates in October. BIM Level 2, so basically the idea is lots of processes around how to do 3D CAD, BIM, a lot better, with end deliverables at the end of a project. So you've got PDFs, as you get today, 2D drawings, 3D models, native models, which is kind of what we're starting to see around the world, and then COBie, which essentially is the idea of data. The data that's within the model and non-graphical data that's not associated.
It's almost like COBie's like AIA, but really for the BIM environment. So the UK mandated this nationwide.
Yes.
And so this was done back in April. We're now in November.
Yes.
What have you seen?
So the interesting thing is it started in April, but there wasn't kind of any real hard, dead fast. For 4th of April, that's when it all starts.
Right.
There's a number. Essentially, it's any government project centrally procured, where it makes sense, has been looking to do BIM. And what's been happening is some of the government departments have been doing this for 3, 4, 5 years, and they've been building on this and building on this. Now we're looking at more of the government departments are getting on board and looking to see how BIM can benefit them. And how they can start implementing these processes to get better buildings and better infrastructure.
One of the things I heard, I forget who from Autodesk said it, but it was more projects are coming in on budget and on time in the UK, which I can't imagine just the cost savings and the profitability of the general contractors there that this enables.
So I think the interesting thing at the moment is, and I think most people are aware of this, as you implement BIM, you've got higher costs initially as you kind of train, upskill and move from kind of an environment that's 2D and has been for a long time into an environment where you're learning maybe different ways of doing the same thing you've done before. So what we're seeing is once we're getting over that hump, we're starting to see either more profitability or different ways of doing things that make more sense, give them more value. What I think is quite interesting with the UK government is they've seen these quite immediate savings, and I can't remember the exact figures, but you're looking 20, 30, 40% times costs. They're aiming to kind of reduce costs across the built environment by about 50%. By 2025.
That's amazing.
Which is huge numbers.
It's massive numbers.
But the only way you're going to do that is by changing what we do completely. You can't simply change from 2D to 3D. You've got to look at off-site manufacture. You've got to look at how you have more lean processes within construction. So it's a really interesting area to kind of work within.
And you had been traveled to London many times, and in that metro area, your construction sites are extremely complex, extremely congested. I mean, you're in a very tight, compact city.
Yes.
That I could only imagine that a process like this must be greatly beneficial.
Yeah, I mean, you've got some of these projects could not have been done without BIM. Give you an example, one project called the Cheese Grater in Leadenhall in London.
This is the best names.
Yeah, we do. We have some fantastic names. The Gherkin.
The Gherkin, yes.
We've got some good ones. So the Cheese Grater is a big kind of wedge-like building. And on that project, they had 1 square metre outside the size of the footprint of the building.
Oh, wow.
They could not have done it without BIM. They basically had to work out the entire planning and logistics so they could have deliveries arrive overnight in kind of, I think, 2 till 4 in the morning or something crazy like that. So they had to do full 4D sequencing. They had to work out how essentially cranes could be part of the building to allow things to be brought from off-site and bolted into place. So it's a really interesting kind of area. But even on those projects which aren't in those big urban areas, we're seeing the buildings that are being asked for, the infrastructure that's being asked for is more complex. So that's why BIM's becoming more beneficial.
Absolutely.
You can't just do it with lots of CAD layers and do it in that. You have to think about how you optimize.
Well, think about back before AutoCAD came out, it was all hand drawing, and you had to take that process and and have that disruption. And this seems to be very similar. Listen, this is awesome. We really appreciate you taking some time.
No problem.
Stay tuned for some more videos from AU. And you're actually teaching a class on Thursday.
Yes.
So usually a couple weeks after AU's over, these classes will be online. It's all about the BIM mandates in the UK and how it might affect the greater ecosystem.
Yeah, so what we're seeing, across the world is there's more and more these BIM mandates coming in, but we're also seeing that the UK mandate, a lot of the principles of that are being adopted into an ISO standard, so an international standard. But what the class is really about is how the principles of the mandates essentially are good BIM practices, and that's what we talk a lot more about there.
Awesome. Well, hey,
Cool.
thanks for coming by.
No worries.
We'll see you later.
Well, thank you.